Hi, and welcome to this week's Tantra Tuesday. If you're someone that always likes to get an edge at work, then this video is going to show you 3 ways that you can become more successful at your career or job. And at the end, I'll share a bonus practice that claims to take you from mediocre to genius. If we haven't met before, my name is Heidi. This is Shamaya Tantra, Tantra Tuesday, the community, whatever's on your mind. And today, our topic is Tantra and work. So I'm going to share 3 things plus 1 bonus that claims to take you from mediocre to genius. Tantra, as you know, if you watch this channel, is much more than just sex. It applies to every aspect of our life. And the skills that we use here can improve relationships of all kinds, including our work relationships. So my first tip for today is a secret. So you're getting really juicy, undercover tantric information here. Do you remember that show, The Care Bears? Well, this tip is called the Care Bear Charisma. And we know that charisma is something that differentiates people who have average results and people who just seem to climb the corporate ladder and succeed even when they're putting in the same amount of work. Charisma is something everybody wants because it helps us to magnetize the things that we want, whether that's a partner, an ideal partner, or whether that's the ideal job or business outcome. So the prerequisite for this secret tip is we have to first open our heart chakra before we can do this. And if you've seen Care Bears, you might know where I'm going with this. You know, they have these beacons that they just send energy out of. So if you have access to your heart chakra, then this is something that you can do that often we think about doing this technique in personal situations, but it's not always obvious to do this in a professional situation. So if you don't have or feel like you access your heart chakra now, you can go to last week's video called Shape-Shifting Loneliness, and I share a little bit about some ways that we can open our heart chakras. Picture this. You're sitting in a boardroom in a job interview or in front of a potential new client. You're nervous, your palms are sweating, you know this is a big deal and you have to say the right thing. Impression, rapport is everything. In this moment, the Care Bear Charisma technique will allow you to pump your heart energy out into the room, out into the person, in a way that is authentic, where you truly are feeling that connection to them underneath the surface. This is a secret covert technique. So they don't know you're doing anything, but you're actually sending them love. You're actually feeling your connection to them as a soul friend, as a soul being that is really, at the end of the day, you, because we come from the same place. And so in this technique, we're drawing on the anahata chakra, the heart chakra, because it is the chakra that has us feel the interconnection with everything. And if your consciousness is in this chakra, you can't help but feel empathy for that person. You can't help but want the best for that person. And us humans, we can feel that. So if you're sitting across the table from someone, just loving them up with your Care Bear charisma, they can't help but like you. They can't help but want you on their team. They can't help but want to do that deal with you. So while you're sitting there, wearing your suit, looking like any other person in a business situation, you can be sending this energy out, connecting with them under the surface, and creating this magical field around you, which acts like a social lubricant. This will dramatically change the nature of your meetings and your business relationships. And as a bonus, you might actually make more friends through it as well. There's no reason that we can't love each other in business. We might not say it out loud, but as covert tantric executives and consultants, these are the things that we're doing underneath the surface. And I'll tell you from experience, I have forged some incredible lifelong friendships, business partnerships, different collaborations from this technique, from really just loving the heck out of whoever is there. And it's a covert technique because they're not expecting it. This is a way that we can secretly send good vibes and love out into the universe. And as you know, what you put out is what you get back. So it makes it a win-win situation and means that your opportunities are going to be better and your success is going to be better. And maybe it'll give you the edge to get that new job or that new client. I want to take a little break and say hello to everyone on Instagram and Facebook. If you're watching later on YouTube, hi. Put a comment in the chat if you can, just to let me know that you're here. That's the only way I can see you here. I want to say hi to Evan. Yes, these beautiful vibration waves of love that we can send out in our first technique. So there's one to practice right off the bat, your Kerber charisma. Second technique is embodied decision making. I work with a lot of clients who are brilliant, but rely on their minds for all of their decisions. And if you're someone who thinks a lot, you know that vicious cycle of spinning out, thinking either a repetitive thought or just infinite possibilities and having the spin cycle running in your mind, unable to land on a decision or sometimes unable to sleep. The solution that Tantra offers to this is opening to other portals of wisdom in our body. There's an entire section of my Exploring Tantra program where we actually learn how to make decisions in an embodied way. And in this program, I guide you into your body's yeses and nos. We actually create a little map so that you can identify this sensation means yes, and that sensation means no. We even go into what sensation means maybe. But having this map gives you a compass to all the decisions in your life. It gives you something that you can realize in a snap decision. Does this feel right or does this not feel right? And having an embodied ability to make decisions offers you an edge in your personal and your business life. If you imagine being an executive and having a whole team of people that are gathering information for you, presenting their cases, and then you're the one who makes the decision, we become our own executives for our own system, our own being. And you wouldn't run a company with just one voice, with just one consultant. And like that, it's not in our best interest to run our lives with just one voice. Our mind has its own MO, its own way of being. And the other wisdom centers in our body have unique perspectives. They have sometimes an expanded perspective and can give us ideas that our mind wouldn't always come up with. So embodied decision making is the second tool that can really accelerate your success in your job, in your career, in your business. The third one is having a tantric chakra tool belt. If you've been to my Tantra 101, we go into what are the practicalities of the chakras, not just these esoteric colors, sensations, but how do I actually act differently in my life by accessing different chakras? And when you're at work, you want to make sure that you have the ability to access different chakras, different states of consciousness, because they're all a different lens of seeing the world through. For example, your first chakra is the part of you that's in one place at one time. It's got a really grounding superpower about it. And if you are finding that you're a little uncentered, you can't quite gather your thoughts or your papers together, being able to channel your energy into your first chakra is going to help you to be able to be fully present with what's happening. It's going to help you to make decisions, because this is the only chakra that only knows one thing at a time. Up in our higher chakras, we're living in the world of potentialities, and we can consider multiple options, which is helpful. But in a moment where you need to make an action and you need to make a decision, it's helpful to be grounded in the energy of your first chakra, which is connected to that immediacy, connected to our survival, and can help us to make those decisions in a quick and efficient way. If, on the other hand, you've made all the decisions, you've done all the things, and the project still failed, or maybe your business is failing, or maybe something catastrophic has happened, like you've lost a key staff member, or you've lost a key account, first chakra is not going to help you very much there. It might actually put you into kind of a fight or flight survival response and cause suffering. But fortunately, if you've done the work to access all of your chakras, you could go up to the consciousness of, say, Sahasrara, say the 7th chakra, which is all about unity and oneness. And if you can connect to that chakra, that state of consciousness, you can connect to a feeling of surrendering and trusting that everything's going to work out just fine. Trusting the divine order and leaving it up to the divine boardroom and knowing that it's going to work out for the best of all. There's 5 chakras in between. I'm not going to go into too much detail today, but if you want to know the practicalities, that's something I cover in my Tantra 101. So there's also a 4th, and this is a bonus because this is something that takes a lot of commitment to really master. But in his book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill says this is the technique that can take you from mediocrity to genius. He also says that the most high-achieving people, he uses the word men, but everything said men back then, so I'm going to sub that for people. He says that the most high-achieving people are highly connected to their sexuality. They have a very high-functioning sexuality, and they've learned how to transmute that. To be able to use your sexuality for success in the world is a practice. There's a process of building up and many steps to go through. But the end result is you get to actually amplify your sexuality instead of repressing it. If you have a naturally high sex drive, this technique is made for you. This is something that you can really use to skyrocket yourself. And then rather than using or seeing sex as a distraction, sex becomes your greatest resource. And essentially what you do is you amplify the stimulation, you amplify the energy, and you channelize it. You learn how to harness it and use it for whatever you want, and for more subtle aims than simply a procreation or simply a stress release. So this is a highly sophisticated technique, but I suspect that most of the people who have really changed history, who have really been geniuses in this world, knew this technique. And some of the research that Napoleon Hill uses supports this as well. So consider the possibility of your sexuality being the thing that can set you apart at work, the thing that can take you from mediocrity to genius. And if this is something you want to know more about, you can check out the book, Think and Grow Rich. It's also something I do in my King of Hearts coaching, to turn this raw energy into a very highly refined, agile, flexible, adaptable resource that you can channel into going beyond, into never feeling restricted, like you can't make it through an obstacle. Think about our primal urges, our biological urges. When we want that partner, especially when we're in our masculine energy, there is nothing that can stop you, right? You felt this? Both men and women have felt this, I'm sure, but especially guys, as you guys have that extra testosterone oftentimes, and you have that conditioning to be the pursuers and to rise to the top of any challenge and win. When you're in that situation, there is nothing that can stop you. And the sexual urge is something that causes destruction in our world if we don't know how to be the kings and queens of it. But it can also create our kingdoms. It can also give us that edge that sets us apart from everyone. And many of the greatest artists have had muses. They've had this source of sexual energy in their life that they can channelize into their paintings, into their songs. And the greatest businessmen, the greatest executives and entrepreneurs have also learned how to use this raw resource of sometimes untapped energy and channelize it into never giving up, into always finding the solution, into having unlimited energy. So I love this topic because I love the idea of transmuting things that maybe we thought were a pain in the butt, like, oh, I'm thinking about sex again, I'm not going to get any work done. Nah. We can actually learn how to lean into that, how to capitalize on that, and use that as a resource that many people in the business arena don't yet have that access to. So if you're into having a competitive advantage, this is just one of the best / funnest ways to have that. So hopefully you're feeling motivated about channeling your sexual energy. If you want to know more about the steps and the practice towards doing that, reach out to me, ask about the King of Hearts program. And you can find more about that on shamayatantra.com, or you can DM me here on Facebook. Wishing you all a beautiful, productive day. And if you have a question for Tantra Tuesday, please submit it sooner rather than later. I get to as many of these as I can. You can DM me on Shamaya Tantra or just put a comment here in this video. Lovely to see you all, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Yes.